How's it going, guys? Coming at you with a review of the FMK 9C1 Gen 2. A lot of you guys might recognize this gun as the quote-unquote Bill of Rights gun, and that's because FMK will actually laser engrave the Bill of Rights across the top of the slide. Whereas in that, I think it's pretty cool. I would probably opt for the more plain version of this gun. This particular one is a front sight labeled gun. You can see their laser engravings there, as well as their logo molded right into the polymer. I know that Front Sight and FMK have kind of been joining ranks, and I don't know exactly what the nature of their relationship is, but I know that FMK is producing these Front Sight branded guns, and I think Front Sight uses them as kind of a promo gun. But like I said, I don't know exactly all the details of their joining up. So I've been wanting to do some more budget-minded reviews. I've noticed that a lot of the big gun channels sometimes kind of only review high-end equipment, you know, kind of expensive firearms, and a lot of the budget guns kind of get left by the wayside. And so I wanted to pick up one of these FMKs and do a little review for you guys. I bought this gun brand new for $300. That was the price tested for this particular firearm. So let's go ahead and jump right into the review, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So right off the bat, guys, I have to compare this gun with the Glock 19. Mainly because it's virtually the same in size and dimension. I mean, they've copied the size and dimension almost completely to the Glock 19. And rightfully so. The Glock 19 is a really versatile size gun. It's on the higher end of concealability, but it has just about as much capability as your full-size gun. And so it's a really sweet spot. It's a very versatile size. And FMK has really mimicked those dimensions. But that's not the only thing that really makes them similar. They're both polymer frame guns. They're both double-stacked magazines. They both are striker fired. They have very similar triggers. They both have the same takedown levers and takedown procedure. They both have a 4-inch barrel, polymer sights. You know, I mean, there's some real heavy similarities between the two. So that kind of begs the question, is the FMK a budget Glock? Well, we're going to answer that question as the review goes on here. So let's go ahead and put the Glock 19 off to the side here, and we'll talk a little bit more about the base stats here. So again, we have a 4-inch barrel. It weighs 23.5 ounces, and the magazine capacity is 14 plus 1. For those of you that live in states that don't allow for the standard capacity magazines, you're stuck with 10 plus 1. So let's go ahead and talk about ergonomics. Now, I've got smaller hands, and to me, the FMK really fits my hands well. I could see it being a little bit of a problem for those of you that have larger hands out there, but I still think it's a large enough pistol and a large enough grip that you should be able to accommodate it pretty well. It does have a rubber back strap here on the grip that does give you a little bit more purchase on it, and it does shoot very pleasantly. In fact, the bore axis is so low that the recoil impulse is really minimal on this gun, so you'll find it to be kind of a pleasant shooting gun. Another nice ergonomic feature to the gun is you have this nice large trigger guard. Now, the reason why that is because FMK offers this gun in a double action only, as well as what they call their fast action trigger, which is what this one is. The double action only comes out a little further, and so it doesn't need a little bit larger trigger guard in order to accommodate that. But you still shouldn't have any problem shooting it with gloved hands in the wintertime. From an ergonomic standpoint, the trigger is actually, let me show you the trigger. Free and clear. When we go to pull the trigger, it feels very Glock-like. It's kind of that same mushy uptake and release like a Glock, but it has almost a virtually identical reset on the trigger as well. Comes out, it's audible as well as tactile, and then it fires off again. Really nice trigger. The only downside to the trigger is the actual trigger itself. I've noticed that where the trigger safety meets the trigger, I actually am getting a pinch. Every time I pull the trigger, I'm getting a slight pinch to my finger, and over time that drives me crazy. There's also a little plastic burr on the trigger as well that's kind of been digging into me a little bit. I haven't filed it off, but it's super easy. You can just file or sand that off and it shouldn't be a big deal, but I still get the trigger pinch. Now, my wife has tried the trigger and she does not get the same pinch. So it might just be my fat hands, my fat fingers, or how I manipulate the trigger, but it's still pinching me, so that's a big downside that way. Another couple downsides to the ergonomics is the slide serrations. Let me show you, bring this in closely here. You can see that the slide serrations there are kind of shallow. They're also very, very rounded and very smooth. In fact, the first day I took this out shooting, it was a cold day and my hands were freezing. And so I reached up there, grabbed the slide serrations to rack the gun, and my fingers actually slid off, and I racked my hand across the rear slide. And you know, my hands were already sensitive and cold, and so it hurt like crazy. So it really pissed me off, actually. But the slide serrations are virtually useless. I mean, they're really, really bad. And the finish on the gun is actually quite slippery as well. There's very little texture. You know, like Tennifer on the Glock, they have, you know, it has a little bit of a texture to it, so you can grip it a little bit better. But the finish here on the FMK is very, very slick. Another huge downside to the ergonomics is the magazine release. As you can see, the magazine release kind of pokes out away from the frame. The frame there a little bit, but in order for it to be completely actuated, you have to actually push the mag release past the frame. If you can see it there, it's stuck in the on position, right? And so it's almost impossible for you to come around and actually maintain your firing grip and push that magazine release. You actually have to disrupt your firing grip and press it with your thumb tip down into it. So it's really horrible magazine release. The other thing is FMK states that their magazines are drop-free mags. I don't know where they come up with that, because this gun is not a drop-free magazine. If you can see, we'll actuate the mag release, and you can see that it comes out just a bit. You actually have to get a hold of it and pull it out the rest of the way. Like literally, listen to this. See how much rub is going on inside of the magazine well? It's rubbing right against that magazine, and there's a lot of friction, and you actually have to pull it and push it in to get it in and out, because there's so much friction there in the magazine well. So it's definitely not, it's anything but a drop away magazine. Now when it comes to sights, they're a 3-dot polymer sight. They're kind of a little narrow for me, but you know, they're a polymer 3-dot. And let me show you, I'm going to push the gun off to the side here. I'm going to roll in the box that it comes in. It comes in this nice little plastic container. It's actually pretty nice. It's lockable, and it comes just like this. It does have, you know, some paperwork underneath, and it usually comes with some oil. It doesn't have that here, but it has this nice little compartment in this box that you can throw ammunition in or whatever when you're at the range, cleaning kit, something like that. So it's a nice little box. It comes with 2 magazines, but it also comes with different rear sights. So if you look closely at these, you can see that the rear aperture on these sights is offset differently on each one. And that allows you to actually change the point of impact that the gun has with these sights. The front sights are used for elevation as well, elevation change. So it's kind of a unique take on adjusting your point of impact. So it's an adjustable sight, but you have to remove and replace the sights with other polymer sights that come with it. Another little feature that the gun has is it has the loaded if out indicator. So you have a little red indicator. If it's sticking out, then it is loaded. It does have freedom and liberty written on the side. It has proudly American. These are produced in California, and that's, you know, surprising to me in that California would actually allow someone to actually build guns there. But it does have "Thank you, Armed Forces" there on the side. But you know, it's kind of a you know, a neat gun that way, that they kind of wear their pride on the gun itself, which is kind of a novel idea. Like I said before, the takedown procedure is pretty much identical to a Glock. We'll just go ahead and show clear here, and you just take it back, pull the tabs down, fire the trigger, and it comes right off. Now this is what it looks like on the inside. You'll notice that it's very, very similar to the Glock. You know, pretty much your standard fare when it comes to striker-fired guns. But yeah, just, you know, easy takedown procedure, really nice. No problem that way. In fact, I really like that. Let me show you a couple little things here as well. You can see that there's some scratches on the finish. Those came with the gun brand new. So there's a few little scratches in the finish already when I got the gun. You know, I don't think that finish is going to hold up really well. It seems to be a little fragile to me, and I think maybe that's just because I'm seeing scratches already in it, but I can't imagine this really holding up to holster wear, you know, a lot. So let me show you the magazine itself. It's a 14+1 steel mag. You know, pretty standard fare when it comes to magazines. I did have a problem with that. I'll roll in the video footage of what the round was actually doing in the magazine. Holy crap, look at that. I'd like nosedive the round right into the magazine. Did the same thing again, look at that. Two different magazines. Both magazines it did it on. At the time that I actually bought the FMK, I wasn't aware that there was a recall issued back in October 2013 on the fast action trigger, which is what this is. Supposedly what was happening was there was a potential that if the pistol was dropped, that it could actually fire off a round. And so they decided that they needed to replace a component in the trigger. So anyway, I called FMK, spoke to a really nice gal out there, Paige. She's a representative there with FMK, and she diagnosed it right there over the phone, said that I needed the upgraded components, and took my information down and said she'd ship it out the next day. So really nice, really painless process. Customer service was fantastic. She also emailed me some instructions, and from the looks of them, you know, you drive this pin out here, you drive this pin out here, take the components out, replace them, put them back in, and it should be really a real painless process. So I'm not too worried about putting them back in myself. In fact, I'd prefer to do it myself than have to send the gun off to FMK. So some people have a hard time with recalled guns. You know, every gun has problems. My XDS has been recalled. My Shield wasn't recalled. It wasn't part of the recall, but the Shield is recalled. You know, even Glock has had recalls in the past. So, you know, every gun has a recall. I don't judge a gun off a recall unless it's something that is not fixable or something that is a problem that way. But you know, FMK is taking care of it, no problems at all, and you know, I don't judge them either way on that. But I do give them a good rating for customer service. You know, just talking with Paige, you know, it was really painless process. So pretty awesome that way. So the question still remains, guys, and that is whether or not I think the FMK is the budget Glock. Well, you know, I'll answer the question in this way. I think that the FMK wants to be a really great gun, and in a lot of ways it really is. But I think that there's a major drawback in the reliability category, and it's one that I question a lot. And the first day I took it out shooting, I put nearly 200 rounds through the gun, and I had several stoppages. Most of those stoppages being failures to go into battery, but I also had 2 failures to eject and 2 failures for the magazine to actually feed the round up into the chamber. It actually pushed the round down into the magazine. Like I said, I had several stoppages, but what I did notice was the more rounds I put through the gun, the more reliable it seemed to become. And so the stoppages were getting less and less the more rounds I put down range. And so I decided to take it out another day and do some more shooting with it. And the second day I put over 100 rounds in the gun. And I'm happy to report that there was 2 failures to go into battery early on, and then for the last 100 rounds that I put through the gun, it ran flawlessly with no malfunctions. And so that's encouraging, and I'm starting to lean towards more of the idea that it was probably a break-in period rather than an inherent unreliability in the design of the gun. I think that there might be a mixture of that, but I'm leaning a little bit towards the break-in period of it. I really wish that I could take the gun out some more and just put hundreds more rounds through it and give you guys a definitive answer to whether or not it was truly a break-in period. But you know, most break-in periods are between 150 and 200 rounds, so you know, that's right around where we saw that the reliability started to flip back over and it started to do better. But But what you guys have got to understand is that in this market right now, ammunition is very expensive, and it's also very hard to find. And it takes a lot of money and a lot of time to do a review just like this. And you know, I wish I had more time and more money to go out and test this more thoroughly. But you know, it's really just prohibitive when it comes right down to it. And so it just kind of is what it is. We're going to have to rely on people that have the FMK. This is where the people that the FMK owners out there, this is where you roll into the comments now and tell us your experience with your gun and how it's functioned. And that's really where we're going to glean the majority of the information. But as I see it, I see that I still question the reliability overall of the FMK. It's what I saw. You know, I'm basing this off of my experience. I put several different kinds of ammunition through the gun. You know, that's definitely it's not an ammunition completely related problem, because we were having malfunctions with all kinds of different ammunition. So I'm chalking it more towards a break-in period than anything else. So anyway, guys, that's my review of the FMK. If you guys have any questions or comments about the gun or about the review, go ahead and feel free to leave them down below. I'll try to get back to you. If I can't get back to you, I've got a lot of great subscribers that are very knowledgeable that'll probably answer your question for you. And anyway, guys, don't forget to hit the like button if you do like what you see. And don't forget to also hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed for more videos just like this in the future. And as always, guys, thanks very, very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. See ya. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my firearm, which is the Springfield XDS 9mm. Just a fantastic gun. Love this. What I'm carrying in it is the Spear Gold Dot 124 grain plus P. That's no secret to a lot of you out there right now. You know that that's pretty much my load of choice. Great firearm. 8 round capacity, 7+1. No problems whatsoever. You guys have seen that on my channel before. So the holster in which I'm carrying it in right now is a white hat holster. It's made in Texas.